It always seems like the domains of our lives are separate, but they're actually not. They are all intertwined. We've been spending some time talking about the various domains of health, and we're diving in tonight into another aspect of the domains of health. We're talking about our spiritual health. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. And in this year, new you. So glad that you're here. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and let you know that we're excited that you are here. If you do have questions, go ahead and put those in the comments as well because we want to get to those as we move through the episode tonight. We have been talking to adults with type 2 diabetes who want to reverse their diabetes, who are interested in getting off of medication, improving their metabolic health, and that's what we're doing in this space. Hey, that's right. We're moving through that space. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, Wood with an E, and I want to help you take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level, and create the life you've always wanted. We are living a limitless life, and limitless living says that we are doing everything we can to be able to move in that direction. We're not allowing any barriers. We're not allowing any obstacles to get to us. We are moving through and we're presenting our best self, our best health, and our best life for our health. If you are also new, go ahead and put new in the comments because we'd love to welcome you with the hand clap. And if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the comments as well so that we can get to those as we move through the night. If you know how we do, I've got below me next to me, I've got my meters that we're going to take a look at here in just a minute. And then off to my side, I've got my Dexcom Clarity, which is actually right down below. So we'll take a look at those numbers here in just a little while, and we will see how we go, right? So I'm glad that you're here. So I am excited, and you'll hear that my voice is a little froggy right now. Hopefully you can still hear me. But I'm excited because we are breaking through, we're moving through a series that I think is very, very important because we've been talking about the domains of health. Several weeks ago, we started by talking about the limitless living inventory, if you'll remember when we went through that process. And we talked about the domains. We came up with the domains, but we discussed the domains. And as we are moving through this series, we're talking about each of the domains. We spent time several weeks ago after we introduced the limitless living inventory. We talked about the physical domain and how the body is basically the vehicle that takes us through our lives. And if we do a good job of taking care of it, it will successfully help us through and take us to success. We talked about the emotional. That is our interpretation and how we interpret the world, right? Remember, how we interpret the world determines how we respond to the world. So when something hurts our feelings, or let me back up, when someone says something, right, there is no meaning in that thing until we attach a meaning to it. When we attach a meaning to it, then we have a feeling about it, we have an emotion to it, and then that emotion drives what we do. Then we talked about our mental health last week. And if the body is the car and the emotions are how we interpret the world, then the mental part of our body or of our existence is what steers the car. Got that? And so today we're going to be talking about the spiritual component of our health and how that impacts everything that we do. So that's where we are. I'm excited for this series. It's one of my favorite because it has all of it really is where the rubber meets the road. We can talk about what we eat, whether we should eat carbs or no carbs or low carbs, whether we should fast for, 1 week or 2 weeks or 24 hours or 16 hours. But when we talk about our lives, the domains of our health are the places that we often find difficulty, and they are the things that make the difference in our health. And we'll come back, we'll talk a little bit more about that here in just a little while. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars. We'll come back and say hi to our community members, because I see many of you that are out there. So glad that you've joined us. So let's go ahead and take a look at blood sugars. Let's see. Let's grab here. So right now you'll see this is my my Libre, my Freestyle Libre. This is a Libre 3, and you'll see blood sugars right in here, right? So you'll see that squiggly white line. Those are my blood sugars over the last 12-ish hours. And you'll see, and we'll take a look at this a little closer when we get to the Dexcom, because the Dexcom actually allows us to see the actual numbers. But you'll see there that for most of the day we've been below 150, and starting maybe around 12 noon, we drop right below 100. We've been kind of hanging out there for most of this afternoon. And here is the Libre, sorry, the Dexcom, and this is a G7. And if I look at the 12-hour range, you'll see kind of the same thing where, let me do that. Okay, so we're right at about 153, and then for the rest of the day, continue to kind of drop and drop and drop and drop and drop. And then, let's see, what time did this one go below 100? So right at maybe 11-ish, a little after 11. And then popped up again, and so for most of the afternoon it's been in the low 100s, and then let's see, when did it go below 100 again? So right here, maybe, yeah, right there about 5:30, and then continues to go down. Now, I am not fasting per se, but I have not had my meal for today yet. On my non-fasting days, I try to do a 1 meal a day, OMAD. And so today I really haven't eaten anything. My last meal was yesterday, and I don't even know what time, because when I'm not fasting, I don't pay attention to the time when I eat. It's just, I know I've got to have 1 meal a day, and I do that. Now, one of the interesting things, and you all who are out there may subscribe to this, is that I try not to eat after 7 o'clock. And obviously, if I have not had my meal yet, here we are on the show, so I'm going to be eating after 7 o'clock, right? So anyway, so that's what I try. All right, let's go ahead and let's take a look at what my meters are actually saying. So here is my Contour and my Keto Mojo. Let's grab a strip for each of those, because the Keto Mojo will give me a glucose, and it also will give me ketones. And let's go ahead and grab, come to this one. I'm going to go ahead and grab one of these Lancets. There you go. Put that one back. And then here are the strips for the Contour. Let's grab one of those out, and we'll see what these are. And I do this mainly so that you can see, because sometimes there are differences between the different meters. And so often I'll have people who get very turned around because one meter is different from another. And I just want you to see that that is actually quite normal. There's nothing wrong with your meter, and there's nothing wrong with your blood sugar. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and open this one as well. So I'm just going to have it on the side. And then these are just the typical Lancets that I've been using. These are, basically find a finger. And my fingers are actually a little cold because I was out shooting a video for our 100-day walk to consistency earlier. So let's go ahead and sometimes when they're cold, they don't readily give a brisk flow of blood. So let's see if this one does. Okay, so that's not bad, not terrific, but not bad. All right, let's go ahead and we'll start this one going, and that's the Keto Mojo glucose. Here is the Contour glucose. So 97. So you're 97 there for the keto Mojo. 84. So 10. What was that? 10, 11. So 13-point difference. Let's get that one out and let's get this started. This is the ketone. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? Right. So I'm not fasting. It's actually been less than 24 hours. Doing my 1 meal a day today. And let's go ahead and get that one going. Okay. So what do you think my ketones are going to be? We'll come back to look at that here in just a minute. I do see some community members out there, so let's go ahead and let's say hello. Let's see who we've got. Boy says hello. Hey, hello everyone. Said this is my favorite topic. I love it. Hello, this is my favorite topic. Just broke my fast with homemade lamb korma and with rice and garlic naan. We need to come take a visit. You know, my wife and I, we've chosen your area as our new place to come hang out. So we're gonna have to be taking some trips over there. Okay, so that sounds delicious. So so broke your fast, and I think that looks good. And Marcello Arcile, welcome. And she says, I'm assuming maybe he, Marcello, says, Team Live, and says hello from Atlanta. Hey, what's going on? ATL in the house. Gian says, hi, Doc. Hi, Wood Gang. Hi, boy. Pleasant hit thumbs up. Hello, Gian. Did you have dinner today? Cornelia, thank you, Dr. Wood, for giving live in spite of your voice. Hopefully, it clears up for you soon. Yeah, we're hoping that happens. You know what happens so the mic is right above me, right? So I'm used to projecting, so I get the mic. And when I project, I think it gets more groggy. But if I'm just quiet and anyway, so we'll see. One of the other options I can do is let me know. We can bring the on-screen mic in. Yes, boy, I'm excited about this topic too, and your meal sounds good. Yes, yes, a lot. Hi, Gian. Gian is saying hi. Concerned about my voice. Well, thank you. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Boy, actually, I binged. Feel so sad. I can make any fasting so far. Okay. Hey, it happens, right? And Gian is saying 0.5. Cornelio saying hi, Bowie. Steve says 0.3. Okay, I'm gonna make a make a note to that. 0.3, 0.5. And then Gian, doctor, are you okay? I worry about your voice. Yeah, I'm doing well, and thank you for watching. Yeah, so we have a new, not quite a series yet, but it's called Limitless Living on the Go. So whenever I go out to do go out and do a talk, we'll kind of get those up to you guys. Boy says, don't feel sad, Gian. I binged all last week. This week I prayed and have not binged for 5 days. Okay, awesome. Take it one day at a time and forgive yourself. Oh man, so boy, today the episode that I did for my 100-day walk for consistency was actually about being kind to ourselves. So that's right on point. Cornelia says, yeah, we hear you just fine. Please don't strain to speak. 0.4. Awesome. All right. So let me try something. You said you hear me fine. let me make one change here, one shift, and I think this might be a little bit better. And I've got to get my things out here. There we go. Let's see if this works better. Testing, testing. All right. Just let me know if this one sounds better to you. I know you guys said you heard me from the other, but we're gonna see how this one goes. Testing, testing. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. So we're talking about the spiritual. So let's go back and you heard me kind of giving a little introduction to our topic for tonight. When we talked about our metabolism, and remember, metabolism is the culprit, right, that leads to our dysfunction. It is the place where we are getting a lot of the diseases, the chronic diseases that we talk about. It is the metabolism that is dysfunctional. And when I said the metabolism is the culprit, it actually isn't the culprit. It is the disordered metabolism is a result of our insulin problems that we're having. And that is the culprit, right? So when our insulin levels go up, then the insulin causes downstream problems for us. That leads to the dysfunction that we see. And so if we can right our metabolism, then we are able to more readily deal with the chronic diseases. In fact, if we can fix the metabolism, then a lot of the chronic illnesses will go away. That's the whole idea, right? And that's where we find ourselves, because our goal is reversing diabetes. We want to reverse our diabetes. And if we're able to right our metabolism, then the diabetes is bye-bye, right? So reverse. Along the spectrum of diabetes is all of these other illnesses like high blood pressure, high cholesterol, polycystic ovarian syndrome, and on and on and on. And so our goal ultimately is, how do we get the metabolism to work better? Okay. Now, so the driving force behind disordered metabolism and the problems that we have with insulin come from the domains of health, right? Where we did the limitless living inventory. We did and that gave us the places that we are concentrating on that will help us in this direction. So let me give you an example. So if you have a car, right, or a bicycle, or any vehicle that uses a wheel, if that wheel is nice and smooth, the tires are good, then the wheel is moving orderly. When we have a problem with the wheel, say there's a bleb, or the tire becomes flat, for example, right? It is driving. You can drive on it if all you want, but it's not a smooth ride, right? It's right. So we're going through that process, and so the limitless living inventory gives us the domains that we need to look at. And if we can get those domains right, if we can get the domains working well, then limitless living says that our wheel now becomes capable of taking us smoothly into success. Now, why is that the case? That is the case because a lot of the dysfunction that we find with our insulin is driven by behavior. Come on. I'm going to give a hand clap for that one. Let me say that again. A lot of the dysfunction that we find is driven by behavior. And behavior is driven by our feelings. Our feelings are driven by emotions. And remember, emotions come from our interpretation of the world. Right? We said that our body is the vehicle. Our emotions, our interpretation are coming from our interpretation of what's going on around us. Because when something happens, or someone says something, or we see something, that thing has no power. It has no meaning until we assign meaning to it. When we assign meaning to it, then, only then does it take power. And only then can it cause a feeling. And when we have a feeling, we behave in a certain way based on the feeling. And the way we behave is what drives drives the result that we get. So if somehow we can tweak the interpretation that we put on something, then it doesn't drive those downstream issues. And if it doesn't drive those downstream issues, then we don't have disordered metabolism. Do you guys see the connection? So people say to me all the time, well, for example, I'm going to pick something silly. How does sleep help with metabolism? Right? There's some specific things it does, but sleep helps with metabolism because it gets you rested. When you're rested, you're not as irritable. I know some people, when they don't sleep, don't be around them. Right? So if you're not as irritable, then you are not as, then your cortisol levels go down. When the cortisol levels go down, then your body doesn't have a higher level of sugar. If you don't have a higher level of sugar, then your insulin level goes down. When your insulin level goes down, your metabolism becomes ordered again. You see the cascade? And so in the domains, each of the domain has a specific function on the wheel. It's a specific spoke on the wheel. And if we can write that, it ultimately leads to better metabolism and ultimately leads to improved health. And we can, all the things we've been talking about, reversing diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, weight loss, all of that comes directly from how our domains of health are functioning. Does that make sense? So over the next several minutes, we're going to explore how cultivating a sense of purpose, meaning, and inner alignment not only nourishes your spirit, but also supports your metabolic health and overall well-being. Whether you draw strength from traditional practices, personal reflection, or connection to nature, nurturing your spiritual self is essential for living and for resilient behavior, right? Balanced life. I was talking to a group this weekend, and I was saying, I talk a lot about balanced bites, the things we eat. We probably should say balanced movement, right? So balanced movement, right? All of it has to be balanced. And if it is, then we get the benefit of the things that we say. All right, so let's hop in and let's have this discussion. So we've been talking a little bit more about the limitless living inventory. Very important, very important. It is what gives us the way to grade and to evaluate the things that that are part of the domain. And just to remind you, the domain, and there are eight parts of the domain. Now you can go back and watch the shows where we went through and talked about, just kind of laid out the foundation for limitless living, for limitless living inventory, and then laid out the domains. And then now this series that we're doing is really kind of walking through each of the domain and seeing how it ties into each other. Now, here's the thing. When we think about the domains, we often think of them as separate. As a matter of fact, the way they're drawn, when you look at the diagram, it looks like there's a space between them. They're nice and segmented, and the physical domain is over here, and way down here below it is the emotional domain, and then off to the side is the social domain, and off to the side over here is the spiritual domain. But the actuality is that they are all intertwined, right? So think about it. If you don't rest well, that's part of the physical domain, right? If you're physically tired, guess what it affects? It affects your emotions, and it affects your mental thought. It affects your ability to problem solve. And if it affects that, then all of a sudden you're having relational issues. So socially, there's a problem. And then you go to work, and now you've got a job problem. So that's the occupational problem, right? So even though we think of them as separate, and we're dealing with them as separate, they are all intertwined. They all fit together. And if we're going to be successful, then we've got to be able to deal with them and be able to work with them as they intersect with each other. Okay, so we're talking today about the spiritual domain and metabolism. So when we talk about spiritual health, it's more than religion. I'm going to pause there. I know I'm going to get some flack from that from somebody, right? So spirituality is more than religion. Often we try to equate the two, but they are not the same. And I understand why people try to equate the two, right? Because often when we think about spirituality, it is rooted in our religious practices. Let me say that again. Often when we see spirituality in practice, it is rooted in our religious behavior. But spirituality has to do more than the religion that you subscribe to. It has to do with more than just those religious practices that you have. It's about living in alignment with your values. It's about living in alignment with your values. And you'll see there that I underlined, bolded, and changed the color for the word values. Because there's a whole discussion we can do about values. Where do values come from? How do we develop them? What are some things that we need to improve include in our value system, right? So all of those are conversations to be had. But whatever the values are that you have, that are part of you, spirituality is living in alignment with that. So that is above religion. So there are things that come from our religions that are in our spiritual practices. But it's not the end all and be all of, it's not completely a religious issue. Right? So spirituality, our spiritual health, acts as the fuel for our inner engine. So we talked about the body being the car that's taking us where we're going, the emotions being our interpretation or coming from the interpretation of the world. The mind or the mental health is what steers and drives us. And the spirituality, our spiritual health, is what fuels the engine. Right? So it is essential for optimum physical and metabolic function. We'll talk more about that. And it supports resilience and overall health, because it is the thing on which everything else is based. We talked, or you've heard me say, that when we talk about metabolism, in order to be successful in our metabolism, we've got to have rhythm, we've got to have alignment, and we've got to have structure. Rhythm, alignment, and structure. Rhythm is what is the thing or the basic tenor of your life. When you get up in the morning, when you think about your life, what is the rhythm of your life? What does it look like? Or is every day something just totally, absolutely different? Is there a trend to your life, the rhythm of your life? That's what that is. Alignment is, are the things that you're doing consistent with what you say you want? Come on now. Right? The behaviors that you have. And since we're talking about health, let's talk about it. When we say we want to be metabolically healthy, we want to improve our blood sugars. I'm going to take that one because that's me, right? So I'm not going to talk about you. I'm talking about me. When I say I want to improve my blood sugars, when I say I want to keep my A1C where it should be, when I say that I want to lose weight and be metabolically healthy, right? That's what I say. But then I go to the store and I buy those 18 Cadbury chocolates. The behavior doesn't align with what I say I want. And that's where cognitive dissonance happens. And you know what happens when there's cognitive dissonance? We try to buffer because they don't mesh. And buffering are all those things that we talk about, right? So eating, emotional eating, hypersexualization, gambling, substance abuse, all those things. Those are buffering behaviors. And we buffer because there is dissonance between the things. Well, sometimes, let me say that. There are other reasons why we buffer. But one of the reasons we buffer is because there's a dissonance between what we are doing and what we say we have. That the inner value, there's difference there. And when there is, then we buffer. And so spirituality, once again, is more than just religion. It's about living in alignment with your values. It is the fuel for the inner engine in you, and it's essential. It supports resilience, supports your overall health, right? So what is the importance of spiritual alignment? Spiritual alignment. We just talked a little bit about it, but when the spirit is nourished, when there is alignment, when your behavior is consistent with desire, is consistent with what I say I want, consistent with my values, when everything meshes, we have a greater capacity for resilience, that is the ability to bounce back from things. And we have improved ability to deal with stress. That's one. So when the things that are in you are all aligned, when something happens outside, because when we're going back to limitless living now, when something happens outside of me, when someone hurts me relationally, when I don't get that job promotion, when my book that I wrote doesn't go where I want, when I don't get the job, when I'm criticized, when life just doesn't seem like it's working, right? The car breaks down, somebody gets sick and passes away, the refrigerator goes out, the house burns down. When those things happen, when there is inner peace, when there is, and I'm not saying those things are not bad things. I mean, those are horrible things. But we have greater capacity for resilience. We can deal with stresses easier. I tell my team, and I think I've said it here already, I tell my team at work, I want them to be so aligned in their purpose and their behavior and their relationships and their finances at home, that when they show up at the job, I get the benefit of the overflow. I don't even want the main, because the overflow is so powerful. The overflow is so deep. The overflow is so rich because it's coming from the alignment that they have in their lives. And when that happens, we are stronger, more resilient. We can deal with stresses more. It promotes healthier choices in nutrition, in exercise, and sleep. Come on. You knew that was coming, right? So when we are aligned, I don't have to get the Cadbury chocolate. I'm just right. When we're aligned, I don't have to get the Cadbury chocolate. And I make a decision, okay, I'm going to go exercise. And I am able to go to sleep and be in rest and be in sleep in a way that is consistent with someone who doesn't have to worry about the stuff out there or the stuff in here. When we're aligned spiritually, it creates a solid foundation for optimal metabolic and holistic health. Because now the choices that I make in my food, the choices that I make in my behavior, the choices I make in the things that I do, in the things I read, the things I watch, all of it is aligned with a direction. And when I'm moving in that direction, there are other things that come at me. I don't have. It's like a water off a duck's back. I don't know why they choose a duck. I guess a duck. Who do we have out there who has ducks? Anybody? You can maybe enlighten us. Right? But it creates a spiritual foundation for optimal health when everything is aligned. That's the importance of spiritual alignment. So let's talk a little bit about exploring your inner landscape, right? So I want you to think for a minute. I want you to reflect on the activities that you do. What are the things that make you feel connected and inspired? Is it being of benefit to other people? Right? You like to help. And I'm not talking about, people pleasing, right? That's a whole another discussion. But what are the things that energize you? Is it being in nature? Is it connecting with people? Is it being in meditation? What gives you joy? What are your core values? Several years ago, we were driving home from Nashville from a conference that we had gone to. And in the process of coming home, we had gone to this conference, and we had our practice at the time, my wife and I, and we were busy doing stuff. We were busy seeing patients. We were busy, all the things that go along with running a practice. But the question was, what were the values of the practice? What were the things that when people thought about our practice, they said, okay, this is this is who they are. And so on the way home, we wrote our mission statement, we wrote our motto, we came up with our core values, and every week at our team meeting, right, we recite that. Our practice exists to evaluate, treat, and educate patients with endocrine disorders. We desire to positively impact the health and quality of life of our customers. Our practice will be the premier endocrinology practice in North Alabama for results and customer satisfaction. We will use innovative technologies to help our customers reach their goals. Our team members are valued and empowered to deliver efficient, caring, and compassionate service at each encounter. So those are the values. People matter. People over process. The golden rule: do for others what I'd like to do for myself. Smile, it brightens your face and lightens your mood. The positives get passed around, the negatives get passed up. Right? So those are the values. And so the things that we do, the decisions we make in our practice, we can actually look at the things that we're doing and say, okay, does this align with what we say? Not that it's a bad thing. It may not be a bad thing, but does it align with what we say we are? So what are your core values? And do the behaviors you have align with what you say you want? And if they don't, The question is why? Well, I shouldn't say why, because we talked about the question behind the question, right? Then we have to answer how do we get them to be aligned? I'm fixing my stuff here that I disrupted. Right. So how do we get them to be aligned again? Because that ultimately is the goal. If we're going to be successful. And then we can start looking at, and that's where the limitless inventory, limitless living inventory comes into play. As we look at the domains, we get to grade the domains. And we say, okay, look, the health domain, the physical domain is great. I'm doing everything there I need to be. But look at over here. Look at the spiritual domain. I'm not aligned. It's a 4. It's a 5. Okay, now I go over there and I can work on that. What is causing it to be a 4 or 5? How do I go about fixing it? And so how do your daily actions align with your inner beliefs? If you want to be an engineer and that is your heart's desire, are you doing the things you need to do to become an engineer? If you say you want to fix your relationship with your spouse, are you doing the things that you need to do to fix the relationship? Do our behaviors align with our inner beliefs? Very, very important. That's why we're exploring our inner landscape. And then, what are some strategies that we can use to enhance our spiritual health? And many of these you've heard, but these practices are what help build lasting habits that align your daily actions with your deeper purpose. So remember that. So your daily action, the things that you do, the things you spend time on, the places that you're putting your energy, the daily behaviors that you do, they have to align with your habits and your purpose if we're getting to where we want to be. So things like mindful meditation, mindfulness, being present, being here, being aware of how I feel, how I interpret things, being aware of my idiosyncrasies, being aware of my biases, and not saying, well, that's just me. Well, maybe it is just you, but guess what? Maybe that is not where we need to be. Prayer. For me, prayer is a big one. Right? In our house, before we leave in the morning, I pray with my family. I'll get up. If I'm not going out, I'll get up. My wife said, we're leaving. I get up and I'll go to the car, pray with my wife and my son before they leave. Because I want to cover them. Bible study for a lot of people. Where you are expanding your mind along the practices and the beliefs. So this is the part where religion comes in. Right? It's a part of the spiritual practice. Gratitude journaling. How many of us would do better if we simply thought about some of the things that we are grateful for? Whenever I do my coaching, whenever we do our community meetup, the very first thing I ask is, okay, now tell me, what is one win that you had for this week? That's being grateful. Because we're so quick to think about the negative, the inner critic. Oh yeah, it will tell us all the things that we did wrong. So gratitude journaling, nature connection, go outside. When you look at the things that are in nature, it expands your mind. And not that you now think, oh man, how insignificant I am. That's not the idea. But it's, my goodness, look at how amazing the world around me is. And then, of course, community engagement. We have some friends who are going to do a mission trip. And often people think of mission trips simply as us. I say us, I'm including myself, as some people going to help on the unfortunate. Do you know the spiritual benefit that the person who's going to help gets? And I fuss at people in churches sometimes because I say that we go to church, a place that's supposed to be for healing, right? Spiritual healing, emotional healing, all of that. Spiritual healing. And we take our pain and we pretend that everything is okay and we go back home with our pain. And we think, oh, well, I don't want to bother people, right? Here's my interpretation, or here's my concept about that. When we allow people to engage with us, when we share what's going on with us, we give them the opportunity to hold space for us. That's a benefit for them. We give them the opportunity to process and to be empathetic, to be compassionate. That's a benefit for them. We give them the opportunity to connect with us. That's a benefit for them. And when we don't share, when we say, well, I'm going to keep my pain to myself, we are actually robbing them of the myriad, the deep connection, the deep benefits, the richness of being in that space and able to reach out to another human being. That community engagement is huge. But these things build lasting habits that align your daily behavior, daily actions, the things that you're doing every day. When the rubber meets the road, they align with your purpose. So how does spiritual health impact or intersect with metabolism? So spiritual health or spiritual alignment reduces stress and it lowers cortisol. Boom. I can drop the mic right there. There's more. But right there, we can stop. Right? Because reduced stress and lower cortisol is one of the things that we need to have happen. Because when the stress levels are high, we most often will buffer. If we don't have the right tools, the right mechanisms. Now, we've talked about the COPE model, COPE. We clarify, we observe, we pause, we execute, right? So it is a tool to be used. But when spiritually aligned, it's easier to use the tool. The prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of the brain, is much more adept. Anyway, whatever the word is, at coming and now regulating the basal part of the brain. That survival. Because our stress levels are lower. Cortisol level is lower. We're spiritually aligned. Spiritual health and metabolism intersect also because a clear, purpose-driven mind enhances decision making. When you're clear here and your purpose is aligned with what your behavior is, the decisions are simpler, easier. No, I can't go there. No, I can't drink that. No, I can't behave in that way because it doesn't align with what I say I want. And healthy choices in all of our domains are easier. When the inner self is aligned with purpose. But if there's disalignment, there's always kind of a conflict. There's always friction. Because there's no clear path. And when there is alignment, this is my favorite part. This is my favorite part right here. When there is alignment, there is a ripple effect that supports optimal metabolism. Let me say that. When there is alignment, there's this ripple effect. It's like dominoes. Like one domino hits another domino, hits another domino, hits another domino, hits another domino, hits another domino. Right? When we look at the domains of health, right? They intersect, and I need to probably redraw them intersecting, because one sloshes into another, and that sloshes into another, and that sloshes into another, and they all kind of mash together, and they're all jumbled together. So that when we have optimal choices, we have optimal benefit, we've optimized one area, that area feeds into the next, and that feeds into the next, and that feeds into another. And ultimately, those decisions lead to improved metabolism. That's how metabolism and health intersect with each other. It creates a ripple effect. It's not in isolation. So when we are nourishing our spiritual health, it is essential for our holistic and our metabolic health. We can't have holistic metabolic health without it. We align our inner values with our daily actions. It provides a powerful foundation on which everything else now rests. For those of you who are in the Christian tradition, as a man thinketh, so is he. When everything is aligned, it provides a powerful jumping off point for everything else. I want you to think about a child, right? So little kids, and there are these phases that they go through, and these are actual developmental phases. And you can tell how old a child is by how they behave around the people in their lives. There are several things that kids go through. The first one is the concept of permanence. We don't come out with a concept that things are still there. That's why you'll see that child. They'll look around the corner and they'll see you, and they'll come back. And they'll come look again. Because in their mind, once they moved back, once they didn't see you anymore, you were gone. And then they come back and they look, and oh, you're still there. And they come back and they move back. And they keep playing that game because their minds are developing the concept that things are still there. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's gone. That's one of the concepts. The other concept, which is huge, is the idea that mom is here, but I can go from mom over there to play with Johnny, and if I come back, I'm connecting with mom again because she's still there. And I can go and I can run up and down the slide, but then I can come back and mom is still here. And I can go over here and play in the sandbox, and I come back and mom is still here. So mom is the central, she is the jumping off point for me to go explore the world. And so your spirituality is the jumping off point from where you can go and expand and explore all of the different domains. Because it provides the power, it provides the foundation. So the question for you is, what one strategy from today's session are you going to share? What are you going to do? Right? Pick something, one of them, doesn't matter. Right? So let's pop back over there. one of them. What strategy are you going to use? And let me back up. Right? So what strategy? Pick a strategy. Right? Mindfulness, prayer, Bible study, gratitude journaling, nature connection, community engagement. What are you going to use to be able to help with your alignment, your spiritual alignment? And then share your progress. Let us know what's going on. Let's support each other on the journey towards a limitless life. And remember, limitless living says that there's nothing inside of me, there's nothing outside me that's going to prevent me from doing what I need to do to be successful in my health and for the rest of my life. So all of the domains are intertwined, and they all set us up for success when we are dealing with them. That's the concept behind limitless living. That we can make a difference. We have unlimited potential, but we've got to take it by the horns. We've got to do the things we need to do to be successful. And if we can do that, then all of the other stuff, not that it's going away, but it becomes much, 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 much simpler for us to do. Awesome, awesome. This is one of my, and I think I heard someone said that this was one of their favorite topics. This was one of my favorite conversations. The domain series that we're doing through right now, this is one of my favorite because it is the driving, and I'm an endocrinologist, right? So I'm a metabolic doctor. That's what I do, right? I do lots of other endocrine diseases, but one of the main diseases I treat is metabolism. And it is uncanny when I talk to people about whatever the disease process is, it falls into one of these domains. So when we take care of these domains, we're making that wheel smoother. We're making that wheel smoother. All right, so let's hop over, and I think I heard some signals in there about some folks that were commenting. So let's see. So Cornelia, that was your last message. I think Cornelia says 4.4. That was my her guess for my ketones. She said, "Thank you. I feel so sad, but you support me." Okay, so Gian is thanking her, and then Cornelia Bowie, yes, thank you for saying that. Oh, let me go back and let's see if I can find that. Oh, okay. Yes, I saw. So we did talk about that. Take it one day at a time and forgive yourself. Very, very true. Very much true. Gio said so you guys are talking my voice. Hopefully my voice was better through this mic. Hey, doctor and everyone. Hey, Teresa, what's up? Cornelia says hi, Steve, and Teresa. Gian says hi, Steve. Hi, Teresa. Spirituality really makes a difference. I've had so many of those challenges this month that used to make me binge, but now I've learned to meditate and pray through life. Oh, thank you. I love that. I'm gonna start that one. Boy, I think I'm gonna copy that and use it with your permission. Oh, okay, hopefully I'm. So I love that. Okay. Bowie says, Julian says, amen. Cornelia says you're going to do some gratitude journaling. I love it. Gian says practicing mindfulness and sharing my story with the community. I love it. All those are great ways of practicing and enhancing our spirituality. So thank you. All right, let's go ahead and let's take a look at blood sugars, and then we're going to take a look at my A1C. So let's go ahead, not A1C, but my ketones. Oh, and of course, as soon as I said that, my screen just logged me out. I was just about to go over there. Give me just a second. Let me log back in. But yeah, so I love what I'm seeing in terms of the things that you guys are going to be doing, because it really does help set you up for success. This conversation, the spiritual conversation, is important on the heels of the other two, because it sets the stage for the decisions we have to make when it comes to all of those, right? Okay, so let's go ahead, and here is my Dexcom, and you'll see there for the last 2 weeks, so blood sugars, and you'll see, if you guys remember, I've been talking over the last month and a half almost. Well, let's see, December, January, February. Yeah, so actually last 2 months, about the fact that my blood sugars were about 30, 40 points higher than normal. And finally, you'll see there that they're improving. So the average right now is 138, whereas the average I think was 155. Okay. My glucose management indicator, 6.6. So if I were to get an A1C based on that, that's where my A1C would be. I did get labs a couple of weeks ago, and I did have my doctor's visit. And so we're going to be sharing those results with you guys coming up sometime this month. I'm in target 84% of the time, target being 70 to 180. And if we look at my daily graphs, as I said, I'm not fasting, right? So, but I've been doing 1 meal a day, and you'll see yesterday. Well, let's go backwards. So I'm in the 80s and 70s and 80s, 90s, low 100s as we go throughout the day, and so it looks like my last meal may have been late last night sometime. Yeah. Yep, because look at that. I was in the 100s, and then we started climbing. It reached a peak at about 130, and I'm trying to remember what what I had was nuts, almonds, and cashews, and cheese. So that's still pretty big. But anyway, so it started coming back down, and so over the course of today, I think the highest. Yeah, right there. Other than this high right at about 130, the highest it's been is 156. And then most of the day has been in the low 100s. Okay. Same thing here. And so remember, 1 meal a day. And so ate late in the afternoon, the evening, because I'm eating that 1 meal a day. And so then the blood sugars climbed, got up to 190. Right after midnight, and then dropped throughout the day. 130s, hit down into the 90s, 140s, right? And so going back further, this is Saturday now, and let's go back on Friday, because you guys were with me, some of you, because we broke the fast. I broke the fast out because we did our show at about 6 o'clock maybe. Or was it 4 o'clock? Anyway, we did a show right in here, and then I broke the fast. And you see, after I broke the fast, we kind of climbed up into the 90s. Now, this right here is what I expected, what I have been expecting over the last several months, because these are the blood sugars I am used to as a result of the fasting and the metabolic improvement that I've had. And then the next morning, after breaking the fast, we're still in the hundreds. And then here, I'll tell you, so my wife made jasmine rice and salmon. And then what else did we do? Oh, yeah, so jasmine rice and salmon. And so that's what is right here. And so that gave that spike. And then we actually went to Birmingham because we had a medical school reunion. And so at the reunion, what did I have? I had a steak, a salad, and rolls. Steak, salad, and rolls. And that we probably finished eating about maybe 8, 9 o'clock right there. And so this that you're seeing is a result of that meal, right, up into the 160s, 170s, and then back down. Going back over the fast last week, and so I want to kind of back up so you see what's happened since the fast, and then going through the fast itself. So this was Friday. And then, so this was a 72-hour fast. So right here, when I broke the fast, was 72 hours. 24 hours before that, so at 48 hours, right? 82 is what the blood sugar is. And then going back further at basically 0 hours, right? So here we are. Or 24 hours, I should say 20, not 0, 24 hours. And then further back at 0 when we first started the fast. And you see over the last several weeks, over the last week or so, right? Because prior to that, we were getting these numbers. So over the last week or so, the blood sugars have been getting better and better and better. So I'm excited about that. And then let's hop over now and let's take a look at what my Keto Mojo is going to say my ketones are. And I saw some guesses in there. I saw a 0.4. I saw a 0.3. And let's pull this up. Okay, actually, let's do this one first. Okay. So here is my Keto Mojo. We're going to go ahead and turn that on. And let this... All right, we're going to hit it so it syncs. And drum roll, are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? There it goes. Drum roll, please. And so blood sugar was 97 and ketones are 0.5. Right? Now, so this is, once again, so this is not fasting per se. It's not even, I don't think it's even 24 hours since I ate last. But just the food that I've eaten over the last little bit, so the last 2 days, has been of such that I am still in ketosis. Right, so that's an amazing thing. And this is what happens when we're talking about ketogenic diets, right? The ketogenic diets are of such that they still allow your ketones to stay in the ketosis range, right? So remember, ketosis, not ketosis. When we think about ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. And we want those blood sugars, if we're talking about metabolism, we want them to remain in the 0.5 to above range. Okay, 0.5 and above is what we're looking for. And this is, if we look at the graph, let's see. So right down there, 0.5 is what my ketones are, and there is my blood sugar. So remember, ketones and insulin can't stay in the same space. And when insulin comes out because the blood sugars are high, then ketones go away. As the blood sugars drop, insulin goes down, and then ketones begin to rise. So that's the yin and yang of the two of those. Okay. All right. And let's go back over. I think I see some other comments. Hey, got some new folks. Let's go here. He says, you can use my words. Your lectures help a lot in giving me these ideas. I love it. And then Tracy, hey Tracy, how are you? Welcome. I love it. Tracy says, new here. What do you drink during your extended fast? So Tracy, I think I have, here you go. So I drink, let's see if I could change my screen. There you go. So I've taken up drinking, so this is Gold Peak. And there's what's the other one? The Leaves one. But I usually drink water, and I will drink the Gold Peak zero sugar sweet tea. So I have a lot of this stuff around. And the other thing, like if I need some fizz, right? If I need some fizz, I will use, and let me empty this so it doesn't spill because I'm gonna turn it to the side. So all the things that I drink, if I'm drinking something during my fast, it'll be the zero sugar stuff. Okay, so whether it's, and this is a Dr. Pepper, there's also zero sugar Coke and Pepsi and 7 Up and Mountain Dew and all those, right? So in my fasting, this is the stuff I use. In addition to water, by the way, right? So did I say in addition to water? Yes. So in addition to water. But if I need something, to give me some flavor or give me some, something, then I'll do that. I hope that answers your question. Okay, so and then let's go back over. So Cornelia says, "Hi Tracy." Gion said, "I feel I fall down after binging, but the Wood gang got me up." I love it. I love it. Steve said, "Hello everybody." Hey Steve, what's up, man? Boy says, "I drink tea with ginger, and cardamom for my circulation. I love it." Boy says, "In my whole life, I am binging, bulimic. This is my thing so far." So there's a lot of eating dysfunction in all of our spaces and all of our lives, and so having a community is amazing. That's why I love this community, because we get to support and help each other. Gion said, "Good boy. I usually drink black coffee." Okay. Steve said, "Tracy, I drink Milo Yellow Label. I think it's hard to find outside of the South." And Milo's is good. Now, I'll say, Steve, thank you for putting that in. But I remember when I used to drink the Milo Red Label. Oh, my goodness. Gion said, "I got it." Yeah, so Gion got 0.5. Yes, 0.5. Good job, Gion. And then, "Great, you are in ketosis." Wow. Yes. And then, thank you, Cornelia. Gion says, "I feel so far down because of binging." So one of the things that, and I guess this is a good place to say this, is when we talk about let's go back here. So this conversation we just had about spirituality, okay? The basis, so let me back up. So spirituality is the basis, it's the energy, it's the driving force, it's the power that we infuse into a lot of areas. And a part of Limitless Living says that we have to be kind to ourselves. We have to extend grace. We have to get to the point where we allow ourselves to make, quote unquote, those mistakes, allow ourselves to have times when we don't do all the things we say we're going to do, or the things that are the best in our health. I'll tell you, I'll raise my hand first, because for years and years and years and years and years, as the guy who taught metabolism, and as the guy who taught diabetes, and as the guy who taught about high blood pressure and fatty liver and high cholesterol, I didn't do what I needed to do for my health. So there are complications that I currently am dealing with. And one of the reasons that I do the extended fast is because I am determined that I am using that as a tool to improve a lot of my metabolic disease. And you've seen, I've shared with you my labs over the course of the last, I think we went back maybe a year or 2 years or 3 years. And we shared those labs with you. So you've seen the improvement in those numbers. But this isn't an I have arrived and it's done thing. This is hey, we're in the process of working together to move in the right direction. And I share with you guys that I am in recovery in my food addiction. It's not done. It's not gone. It's something that I am dealing with on a daily basis. And so I have to be mindful of the things that I do, right? So as we're talking about spirituality and health, and we're talking about these are domains that are very much relevant for everybody. So as you're thinking about where you are in your space, you may not, and that's why we do the limitless living inventory. So there's some of those domains you may have, it might be 1 or 2, right? Others are 10, but 1 or 2. And so we are in the process now of saying, okay, let's look at all of the domains. That's why the inventory is great. Let's look at the domains and see which are the domains we need to work on. Because if we can work on those continually and improve, we get benefit. And we now are able to do the things we're talking about in limitless living and say, okay, this is what we're doing. We are improving. We're not allowing anything outside or anything inside us to prevent us from making the choices that we need to make to be successful. Right. I know that was a long discussion for that question. Okay, and sometimes I'm harsh to me. Yeah, yes, we can be very critical of ourselves. And the Gion says, sure, awesome. All right, so this is actually a great time to talk about what we do and how we do. So everything that we do is built on the Triple E formula for success. We educate, right? Because education changes our mindset. It gives us a different way of looking at it. It helps us with our frame shift. It helps us understand that we have a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. So education, very important. We educate, we empower, and we empower with the tools that we're learning. All the conversations that we're having, the balanced bites, right? Fueling your body with the balanced bites, with things that are whole foods, minimized processing, no added sugar, lean protein, healthy fats, all of that, balanced bites. We are empowered with fasting. How do we fast? What fast should I do? Which one is the best for me, for this disease, for that disease, right? We are empowering with learning how to be emotionally intelligent and mindful, understanding how I am interpreting the world, learning the limitless living inventory so that I can evaluate objectively the domains around me to say, okay, what do I need to work on? Where do I start? Often we don't succeed, not because we don't have vision, we don't have drive, we don't have a plan. We don't succeed because we don't have structure. And the limitless living inventory gives us structure to say, okay, these are the 8 domains. This is how I've graded them. Okay, where am I going to start? The COPE model, the HEAT model that tells us the triggers, the habits, emotions, access, and taste. All of those are tools that we have learned and we will continue to use in our space. And then we encourage with the community that you are a part of, an amazing community that is here to be supportive, that is here to help grow, that here to allow us to move away from buffering, right? So why is community important to me? Community is important to me because for much of my life, you know where my support and comfort came from? It came from food. Because the food was always there. There was never a time when I said to food, hey, come, let's hang out, that the food said, nah. And food didn't talk. It didn't complain. It didn't fuss at me. It was always available anytime I wanted. And that's what makes community so amazing. That's what makes fasting so amazing. Because when I fast, the food noise goes away. Or it's quieted. I shouldn't say goes away. It's quieted. So we educate, we empower, and we encourage. And I love to be here in this space with you, as I always say, because it allows me to educate, it allows me to become empowered, and it gives me encouragement as I hang out with you. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. We will be back later on this week as we do our fast. Now, next week, we won't have a live show. You'll have something here in this space, and the week after that, the same thing. We'll have something here for you in this space. Make sure you come and join us. We will have our community meetup on the fourth Thursday of this month. So make sure that you join us. If you're not part of the community, make sure you get there. There should be a join button down on your YouTube screen there somewhere. Join us. We will do an after the show tonight. Lots of resources that are available for you if you're not a community member, but much more richness if you are a community member. So make sure you jump in there and join us. We'll be fasting Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so we'll have those shows. So make sure you come back and join us. And then Saturday night at 9 p.m. Central this week. Videos from the vault. And then on Sunday morning, This Week in Review, 7 a.m. Central. And then next week, like I said, you'll have a special, have something here in this space for you. So make sure you come on and join and participate. Okay? I love it. I love it. I love it. And I did see, make sure if you are one of our community members, if you join the community, make sure you get into the Kajabi, right? Because that's the space where you get to talk to each other outside of this forum. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I'm glad that I could be with you. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here on the channel, I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level, and create the life you've always wanted. And in this year, we are living a limitless life. We are breaking free from the boundaries. We're breaking free from those obstacles. We are presenting our best self, our best health, and our best life. We're not allowing anything from outside of us or anything from inside of us to prevent us from doing what we need to do to be healthy. Thank you for joining me. Good night, everybody. We'll see you at our next show.